Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and we just got confirmation that the hero's worst fears came true. Not only are the villains recruiting more powerful allies to their cause, but they're also in possession of the quirk equivalent to a freaking nuke. I knew that this would happen. I've been talking about it for a while, and now it's here, and it changes everything. The odds of winning in the final showdown are now heavily in the villain's favor. This is really bad for the heroes, so let's get into it. If you guys enjoy our Boku no Hero content and you want us to keep it going, just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you watch our videos but you just haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a quick favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. Finally, this video will contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. The previous 3 chapters were titled How We All Became Heroes, Parts 1 through 3, and those chapters dealt with Class 1A coming to terms with the Aoyama traitor reveal, and with all the heroes preparing their next move against the villains. We know that Aizawa has a top secret plan, a plan that involves Class 1A and Aoyama in particular, but we still don't know all the details. What we do know is that the heroes want to split all the major villains up so that they can deal with them one by one instead of all at the same time. It seems that Dabi in particular is a major target for this plan, because Dabi is so emotionally invested in getting revenge on Endeavor that baiting him to come out of hiding even as the other villains continue to hide shouldn't be too difficult. On top of that, we know that Deku and other students are getting some brand new gear thanks to Mei Hatsume, and at the end of the previous chapter we saw that Spider-Man Shinso is also going to be involved in all of this. The latest chapter is called How We All Became Heroes -1, and it deals with what the villains have been doing to prepare for the final showdown. This chapter confirmed the game-changing twist that we've all been waiting for, a twist that I've been predicting for well over a year. The chapter begins with Toga visiting her childhood home, which lies abandoned and in ruins. Hateful graffiti calling her a demon are covering the walls, and Toga recalls how even her own parents gave up on her and called her a demon child. She was called creepy and a deviant by her parents and pretty much everyone else, and no one would ever accept her creepier tendencies, such as her fascination with blood and violence. Toga then recounts a disturbing recurring dream involving a sparrow, but I'm not even gonna get into that stuff here. Not only is it something that totally creeps me out, but it's also the kind of thing that our YouTube overlords would definitely not want me to talk about. That said, one thing is clear from all of this. Himiko Toga really is someone who is psychologically disturbed, and someone whose urges are incompatible with a functional society. Toga isn't just someone who is misunderstood and who decided to rebel against society because society mistreated her. I mean, yes, society did treat her harshly, but at the same time, she really is psychotic and dangerous. No society can function if it tolerates someone like Toga being allowed to physically hurt people and animals for her own amusement. So that means that Toga wouldn't fit in any functional society. She is not just some misunderstood and relatable villain who happened to grow up on the wrong side of the tracks or something like that. She really is someone who fundamentally deviates from everything that a normal society is required to uphold in order to function, and it is interesting to encounter such a villain face to face. She is someone who is just so radically different from what we consider a normal person to be that she simply can't coexist with normal people within the same society.
Okay, I totally understand your point. However, as the editor, I can always do this and prove that she is the best girl.
One thing is clear from all of this. Himiko Toga really is someone who is misunderstood and who decided to rebel against society because society mistreated her. She really is a relatable villain who happened to grow up on the wrong side of the tracks, and it is interesting to encounter such a villain face to face. Anyway, Dabi then shows up unannounced, and he is surprised to see that someone like Toga would be sentimental enough to visit her old childhood home. Toga just brushes it off as curiosity, but this scene does hint at the fact that Toga has something resembling normal human sentimentality. At the same time though, whatever her sentiments may be, Toga's worldview is still radically different from the average person's. Dabi asks Toga if she is ready to finally end this pathetic world that rejected her, and she responds that she can't go back now. Dabi is happy to hear this, and in a grand symbolic gesture, he burns down Toga's old childhood home. He says that the world doesn't care whether they smile or cry. It will just continue spinning and the sun will rise again tomorrow, impartial to everything that's happening. So, if that's the case, and the world will just keep spinning regardless of whether they smile or cry or do nothing at all, they might as well have a good laugh. Dabi then reveals that before Makia tore down the villain mansion, he managed to grab a sample of Twice's blood. Toga now has that blood in her possession, and since Twice is someone she held dear, she will now be able to use Twice's ultimate power, the infamous, overpowered, and terrifying Sad Man's Parade. And this is massive. This changes everything. Ever since Twice's death, I've been speculating that Toga might have a sample of his blood, and that she may be planning to avenge him by using none other than Sad Man's Parade. We all know how dangerous Sad Man's Parade is. We saw it in action against the Meta Liberation Army, and we know that the heroes were so afraid of it that Hawks made the decision to kill Twice rather than risk giving him the opportunity to use it again. And yet, I knew that after Toga's quirk awakened, it was only a matter of time before she also used Sad Man's Parade. I was so convinced of it that when I made a video last year ranking the strongest multiple quirk users in MHA, I included Toga on the list ahead of another character whom many consider to be way stronger than Toga. I got a lot of heat for that in the comments, but I was so sure that Toga would end up having the ability to use Sad Man's Parade that I took it as a given and I counted it as one of her abilities. I'm glad that gamble paid off because some people definitely thought I was crazy after I made that video, and if you want to check it out, I will link that video in the description. But yeah, I know I've said this already, but this confirmation that Toga can now use Sad Man's Parade is a massive game changer. With so many heroes and hero students now located within the UA school grounds, Toga can use Sad Man's Parade to surround all of UA and storm it using an endless army of clones. The UA may have an incredible new security system, but if anything can challenge that security system, it is Sad Man's Parade. And if Toga can ever find a way to sneak into the UA grounds by transforming into someone else first, then it's really game over. If Sad Man's Parade ever gets past the UA security system, that's a wrap. If the villains can take UA and all of the heroes and hero students who are currently based there, they will break the back of the already struggling and short-staffed heroes. Toga with Sad Man's Parade could be the key to a villain victory. Sad Man's Parade plus Perfected Shigaraki plus All for One plus Dabi plus all the other villains adds up to an absolute disaster for the heroes. Definitely let me know what you guys thought of this insane reveal. Like, yeah, I saw it coming and I'm sure a lot of you guys did too, but now that it's here, it is such a game changer and it completely flips everything we thought we knew about the current situation. In my opinion, the odds are now heavily stacked in favor of the villains, and the heroes are going to need some serious plot armor to come out on top in the end. Oh, and if you've made it this far into the video, do me a quick favor and like and subscribe. It really means a lot, and it helps with that YouTube algorithm. The chapter then switches focus to our boy Spinner, who is getting an important pep talk from All for One and Skeptic. Spinner is really concerned about Shigaraki, who is still wreathing in pain and who looks like he's barely clinging to life at this point. But All for One assures him that everything is going according to plan and Tomuna's recovery process is going smoothly. Smoothly definitely isn't the word that Spinner or anyone else would use to describe Shigaraki's grueling recovery process, but as we know, All for One is just built different. When Spinner asks whether Shigaraki is still himself, All for One's like, oh yeah bro, for sure, don't even worry about it. That is total BS of course, but Skeptic conveniently changes the subject. He talks about the fact that many people with mutant type quirks like Spinner are social outcasts who resent heroes and the hero society. That's because mutant quirks are quirks that make the user's body permanently different from the bodies of the majority of people, so that makes them stand out and it makes them targets for discrimination. The giant furry girl that Deku saved was a great example of that. She has a mutant type quirk that gives her a very large stature and animal-like features. This is something that she can't control, she was just born this way, but because this makes her different from most people, she was viewed with suspicion and mistaken for a villain. I'm sure this was not the first time that someone was scared of her just because of her appearance, and I'm sure that many individuals with mutant type quirks probably face similar situations all the time. Because of this, people with mutant quirks are more likely to feel like outcasts who have been mistreated by society, and as a result, many of them have rebelled against this society. Skeptic says that Spinner has become a symbol for these people, a sort of hero for those who are seen as abnormal by society as a whole. With his own mutant-type quirk and his notoriety due to his affiliation with the League of Villains, Spinner is the perfect person to rally all of these disenfranchised mutant people to the cause of the villains. Which would of course make the villains even stronger and put the heroes into an even more difficult situation. Spinner isn't really interested in this, and his intention was never to be some sort of leader. He was just a guy who was wronged by the Hero Society and who believed in Stain's crusade to bring back true heroism. But Spinner is no longer just some guy cosplaying as Stain. He is now a powerful symbol in his own right, just like Stain was such a powerful symbol for him. Spinner says that if it's for Shigaraki's sake, then sure, he will play his part in recruiting the mutant quirk users to their cause. And on the very last page, we see a bunch of mutant quirk users getting together, presumably to meet up with Spinner. One of these individuals seems to be that slime villain from the very first chapter of the manga, so yet again we have another callback to the beginning of the story. To me, this emphasizes yet again that the MHA manga is preparing for an epic conclusion, and that is why the story is coming full circle. The final words that we see are All For One telling Spinner that anyone can become someone else's hero, meaning that a villain like him can become a hero to those who are outcast from society, just like he is, and that is how this chapter ends. And honestly, this was a major chapter in terms of the villain side of things. We just learned that the villains possess the ability to use Sadman's parade, and that they are recruiting an army of mutant quirk users. This is of course on top of the fact that the villains already have overpowered fighters on their side, including All For One, Awakened Shigaraki, Dabi, and so on. When we consider the situation now, including how overextended the heroes are, I think that the odds are now heavily in the favor of the villains. Aizawa's plan better be brilliant, and he better make use of Aoyama's traitor reveal to the fullest, otherwise the heroes are in huge trouble. With everything that's happening, it really does bring it home to me that this manga will be ending soon. With all the callbacks to the first chapter of the story and the stage being set for a colossal clash between the heroes and villains, I can't help but think that we might be just a couple of dozen chapters away from the end, and that is a scary thought after we've been following this story for so long. How soon do you guys think that the MHA story is going to end? Also, how do you think that the villains are ultimately going to use Sadman's parade? Will they use it to surround and storm the UA, or will they use it in some other way? Finally, can Aizawa's plan make up for all of these villain W's, or are the heroes about to be L+ ratioed by Sadman's parade? Don't forget to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos in the future, just leave a quick like, and of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. That is a completely free way to support the channel, and of course, subscribing and hitting the bell is the only way to make sure that you will actually see our videos in your recommended. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!